The CEOs of Exante Limited here, the golden sponsors of Russian Business Week, Gata Siglitis and Anatoly Knyazev. A few questions to you guys. So tell us a few words about your first impressions of the Russian Business Week, the conference.
It was really a surprise for me that I'm attending an event by such high-profile school as LSE. I graduated from the Moscow State University, and some of the folks I went to the high school with went to the LSE, and I always sort of envied them. And I was thinking, why haven't I chosen the same path? What would happen for me had I graduated from the European university like Geddes, like he went from Latvia to Copenhagen, Denmark, right? And now I'm here looking at the bright folks, and in some way they're the same as the folks in Moscow, right? Young, ambitious, like we used to be, not the beaten rocks like we are now. But in some sense they're different. They have this global mindset. They speak better English than us. They are prepared to make friends with people all around the world. So, what do you think, Geddes?
Same. I share same feelings with Anatoly. I've also always admired London School of Economics and Stockholm School of Economics and a few other schools, and I'm always glad to visit any of those schools. I'm happy that they make me feel like as if I'm a student today. So I have good memories of my school, and I think that we've always focused on students. This is where the future lies. This is where talents come out from. So this is a factory that we are dependent on, because if London School of Economics is doing well, we're going to do well, and that's pretty much it.
So. True story.
Wonderful, great to hear. So can you give me a brief summary of what you were speaking about today in the theater hall?
We were speaking about failures. We were speaking about the pains we passed through, the mistakes we've made, how we learned from them, or tried to learn from them, and...
Yeah, and basically, the most important thing that we actually didn't mention, and that was actually a highlight of the speech, is that if you fail much harder than the previous time, that means you grow, right? So actually that's the message which we forgot to mention. So every time if you fail bigger and bigger, it means that you're growing. You're not stagnating. And the other thing is that when we started business, we thought, okay, here's the problem. We need to make a company work, right? So, and I somehow thought, like, this was a big mistake of thinking that way. That if you hire a lot of people, you set up a lot of processes, and you're gonna someday go to this kind of, to the order, right? So from one entropy to other entropy, and you'll have order. And unfortunately, if you are an entrepreneur, it works opposite. That the funnel is going outwards to the complete house, right? So you are optimizing house when you're doing your own business. Do you think that when Elon Musk blew up his third rocket, he thought that something is going to order, but he already had 500 smartest people on board, right? Etc., right? So now it's going on complete chaos, because next time he's going to blow up a biggest shuttle which will be the size of moon, right? So this failure will be much bigger than this small rocket which we blew up yesterday. Yeah? So it means that this funnel is going exponentially, and if you're having bigger problems, it means you're growing. That's a good sign. You're trying, it's good.
All right. So on the topic of failure, do you believe it's possible to learn from others' mistakes? Like, for example, you were speaking about your own failures. Do you think the students will learn from that? Or is it necessary to make your own to grow?
No, that'd be, I'm afraid, some wishful thinking and being naive. That great idea on paper to learn from other people's failures, right? And we all read some stories of which we could have learned. But for me personally, it does not happen, I'm afraid. There's always an idea that you are a special human being with some superpowers, and somehow all these lessons and mistakes of other folks do not apply to you, right?
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing. Actually, people. Here's one thing: people cannot copy the status, right? The state. If you show, for example, this presentation today, you just show a state of events, right? You need to see the actual motion of events, because events are not statical things, right? This is a flow of different emotions like happening, like from one picture to other picture to other picture to other. So you need to see this actual movement, because you cannot copy. You can copy the behavior. You cannot copy some sort of static picture.
Right, okay. So can you explain to me the concept of Exante and why you think it's superior to all other brokerage companies?
Even besides the fact that it's our baby company that's supposed to be the greatest, right? Like every kid. What do you think, Deris? What's our core competence and core strength?
Team, I think. We have an excellent team. We are young company. We do business remotely. We have a lot of offices. We're like a puzzle. We can plug in pieces. We can plug them out. We are super dynamic. We have a flat organizational chart. We are trying to manage the information flow very efficiently all directions. So I think that's our core competitiveness, right? And the product. But the product is just a result of a process, right? So we build process, and then the result is a product. So we focus pretty much on product and also on the customer.
And maybe then the grid in 2016 with all that negative rates and VC capital and the gluttony, everyone's basically trying to give you money. We are still the greedy folks who refuse to spend more than necessary on various stuff. That help us. We are trimmed, we are lean, we are agile, like we are fast, not cumbersome, not old, not spoiled.
Here's what I think is most important is in our company that we are pretty efficient in releasing new products, even though our say staff or employees they would think that we are quite chaotic and we have this mess around. But the truth of the fact is that we release so many products every week. We have a new release every week of a new product, new updates, new gadgets. We can launch a project in 1 month and it's going to be very successful and flawless with few bugs. So it's a very competitive company, I'd say.
All right. So for students who want to join your young and flexible company, who want to bring their skills to Exante, do you have any advice? What would you recommend that they do?
Examples, maybe?
Examples.
I think that what I say to my staff is try 10 times. Don't be afraid of failing, really. But don't tell me that you didn't try. That's it. We cannot tolerate a behavior which is not trying, which is I wouldn't mind someone to make 10 times stupid mistakes. I wouldn't mind. No. So I think that the dedication and passion and like this drive, this is very important.
You should be focused on actually getting things done. You should take some responsibility. You should come up with some ways. In a company like ours, there's no place for just some cog in a machine, in a mechanism. We don't have some repetitive processes where you just follow the instruction. So you should understand why you're doing something, where it fits with the bigger picture for a company and yourself. You should take the responsibility of achieving the goal, and you should try, fail, and finally succeed.
Yeah, and the forbidden word in our company is a problem. We completely have crossed it out from our vocabulary. So we have situations and solutions only, and there are some situations where you can't really see a solution, but eventually you find it if you really look for it. So, yeah, that's our culture.
Great. Okay, so lastly, let me ask you, what long-term goal do you have for your company and for yourselves?
To fail again, to fail better,
More.
more, yeah, harder, faster, stronger.
Yeah, bigger.
Yeah, why not? That's the great measure of progress, right, as we've explained already.
That sounds great. Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing your sense of humor and your expertise to our conference.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandru.
Thank you for inviting us.